Greetings, boys and girls. In today's video, we're going to be converting customary and metric units of measurement. You'll remember yesterday we talked about customary units of measurement like inches, feet, yards, miles. Those were customary units of length. And we're going to be able to convert between feet and inches, feet and yards. We're going to be able to convert between various units of measurement. Okay? Let's get right into what we're going to use as our resource. Now, when you take the STAR test, they are going to give you this chart right here. So we're going to use that. As a fourth grader, you're not expected to memorize all of the conversions, but they'll give you this chart. Just like in a video we did last week, we're going to reference this chart to do our conversions. All right, let's get into these. Now, one thing that I like to do when I'm converting units, because sometimes it gets a little confusing, I'm not always going to multiply to get to where I'm going. One thing I like to do is I like to think of what I'm converting as a fraction. So I have feet and inches. I know I'm going to go look at my chart. It tells me right here, 1 foot is 12 inches. Okay? So 1 foot is 12 inches. And I am going to turn that into 5 feet. How many inches would that be? Now look, now I have 1/12 is equal to 5 something. This is familiar, isn't it? I know I can multiply 1 times 5 to get to 5, and then therefore I would multiply my 12 inches times 5 to get a total of 60 inches. So my answer would be 60. Do you see how I use equivalent fractions to do this? Because sometimes it's going to be confusing as to whether I need to multiply or divide. So if I go ahead and set this up like a fraction, an equivalent fraction, I can know for certain if I need to multiply or divide. Let's look at the next one. I have 4 tons, and I'm trying to figure out how many pounds that is. Now, let me see, where are tons and pounds going to be? Oh, right here, tons and pounds, that's weight and mass. So I know 1 ton is equivalent to 2,000 pounds, and they told me that I have 4 tons. So I'm figuring out how many pounds that's going to be. To get from 1 to 4, what did I have to do? I multiplied by 4. So I'm going to do the same thing to 2,000 pounds. Okay? Because I'm trying to go from 1 2,000ths to 4 8,000ths. Just understanding that relation. So it would be 8,000 pounds. They didn't give us much space to write this. Okay, let's look at the next one. I now have 4 cups, and I'm trying to see how many pints that's going to be. So let me see the connection between cups and pints. Oh, look, it's right here. This time I see that 1 pint is the same thing as 2 cups. So let me set that up. 1 pint over 2 cups, and that equals 4 cups. Well, I'm not going to put the 4 on top because look, my cups are on the bottom, so I'm putting my cups down here. What do I do to go from 2 to 4? Well, I multiplied it by 2. To go from 2 to 4. So I'm going to do the same thing to my 1. 1 times 2 is going to be 2 pints. Now, here's something to note. If I used a different approach, I would have had to divide my cups by 2. Because 1 pint is 2 cups. So if I have 2 cups, that's 1 pint, and then another 2 cups would give me 2 pints, which is the same thing as the 4 cups. Okay? Let's look at another problem. This time, I have 4,000 pounds equals something tons. Oh, we worked with this before. Now look at our conversion. 1 ton is equivalent to 2,000 pounds. So I'm going to say 1 ton over 2,000 pounds is equivalent to, well, I don't know how many tons yet, but I do know it's 4,000 pounds. So how do I get from 2,000 to 4,000? I simply multiply by 2. So I'm going to take my 1 ton and I'm going to multiply that also by 2. So what is 1 times 2? Ooh, that's easy. 2. So that would be the same thing as 2 tons. Okay? If you chose to do this problem a different way, you would have taken the 4,000 pounds and you would have divided that by 2,000. And that would have also given you 2 tons. Okay, let's look at the next one. I'll use purple this time. Now I have 2 quarts equals some number of cups. Let me go look for that conversion. Uh-oh. I see quarts, and then cups are over here, but I don't see anything with quarts and cups. So now I'm going to have to make this up myself. So I see that 1 quart equals 2 pints. And then 1 pint equals 2 cups. Okay, so if I'm thinking about 2 pints, I would have 2 cups plus 2 cups. So therefore, 1 quart equals 4 cups. Okay. But now I have 2 quarts. So not just 1 quart, but I have 2 quarts. How many cups is that? Well, if I'm just thinking about it, I can double this. And I would see it was 8 cups. Can I also do this as a fraction? I sure can. 1 quart over 4 cups equals 2 quarts over how many cups? Well, to get from 1 to 2, I have to multiply by 2. So I'd multiply my 4 cups times 2, which equals 8 cups. All right, let's make sure we get that down. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, for the next one, we have 36 inches equals something feet. So I'm thinking inches and feet. Oh, right here. 1 foot equals 12 inches. And I want to now do a conversion that gives me 36 inches. Where's the 36 from? It's right here in the problem. So 36 inches. And I'm trying to see how many feet is that going to be. To get from 12 to 36, what do I need to do? I need to multiply by 3. So I would do the same thing to my feet. I'd multiply my feet by 3, which would give me 3 feet. Okay, go ahead and get that down. And now we're ready to move on to the next part. We have 3 tons, and we're trying to see how many pounds is that going to be. So let's look for where we have a conversion between pounds and tons. Oh, underweight. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. So I'll write that. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. And I need to figure out how many pounds is in 3 tons. I don't know how many it's going to be, but look. To get from 1 to 3, what do? Multiply by 3. So to 2,000, I'm also going to multiply that by 3. 2,000 times 3 is going to be 6,000. Answer choice D. Alright, go ahead and get that down. And now I'm going to give you a few moments to do that next box by yourself. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Make sure you look on the side and see which conversion will help you. Alright, I hope you had a chance to solve that and you realize to get from 3 feet to 24 feet you had to multiply by 8. So therefore you would take your 1 yard, multiply that by 8, and get a total of 8 yards. Answer choice D again. Okay, well if you need some more time on that, press pause. Otherwise, we are going to switch gears. We're now going to talk about the metric conversions. Now the good news about these is, look, I am just going from like 1 to 1,000, 1 to 100, 1 to 10. That's all I'm really going to be doing. So these are going to be a little bit simpler, but we still need to figure out, do I need to multiply or divide to get there? So I'm going to use fractions again. It just makes it easier. I don't have to think as hard. I just need to set it up and go from one measure, the same measure to the same measure when I'm looking at my fractions. Okay, let's get into this problem. 100 cm, which stands for centimeters, is equivalent to how many meters? So I see I have 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. Oh my, that's like a giveaway. So 100 centimeters is 1 meter. I was able to just write 1 meter because it literally tells me that 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. Now for the next one, I have 500 centimeters equals how many meters? Okay, so I'm going to say 1 meter over 100 centimeters equals 500 centimeters. How do I get from 100 to 500? Oh, I multiply by 5. So I'm going to take my 1 and I'm going to multiply that by 5, which is going to be 5 meters. Okay. In our next problem, we have 1,000 centimeters equals how many meters? Okay, I'm going to use part of my expression from before. So now I went from 1 meter over 100 centimeters to something meters over 1,000 centimeters. So now I'm asking myself, how do I go from 1 to 1,000. What do I multiply by? Hopefully we realize I multiply by 10. Multiply by 10, add a 0 to the end. So if I think about 100 with one more 0, it's 1,000. So I'm going to take my 1 meter and I'm going to multiply that also by 10, because I'm trying to make equivalent fractions. So 1 meter times 10 equals 10 meters. All right. We're going to move on to the next one. I'm going to erase what I have. Okay, for our next problem, I'm going from 100,000 meters to kilometers. Okay. Oh, look right here. 1 kilometer is the same thing as 1,000 meters. So now I'm going to have 100,000 meters. I'm putting it on the bottom so that I have meters to meters. And then up here is going to be my kilometers. Well, how do I get from 1,000 to 100,000? It's kind of like going from 1 to 100. What do? I multiply by 100. So I would take my 1 kilometer and I'd multiply that by 100. 1 times 100 is 100. So I would have 100 kilometers. Okay? Now let's look at kilometers to meters. We're just going the opposite way, but guess what? I can use my same initial conversion. So I'm going to erase part of this. And 40 kilometers, so I can write 40 at the top, over some number of meters. So to get from 1 to 40, what did I do? I multiplied by 40. So I'm going to take my 1,000 and I'm going to also multiply that by 40. 1,000 times 40 would be 40,000. So I would have 40,000 meters. Hopefully your zeros look better than mine. All right, I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's look at the next one. Whew, we have 7 more. 3 meters equals how many centimeters? Let's look for the conversion. Oh, right here. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So I'm going to make that equivalent to 3 meters, and I don't know how many centimeters that is. To get from 1 to 3, what did I do? I multiplied by 3. So I'm going to do the same thing to get from 100 to the new number of centimeters, which is 100 times 3, 300. Okay, we're going to do 2 more together, and then I'm going to see if you can do the next ones on your own. Okay, now I'm going from centimeters to milliliters. I am going to come over here and look at my chart, and look right here, centimeters and milliliters. 1 centimeter is the same thing as 10 millimeters, and they told me I have 4 centimeters, and I don't know how many millimeters I have. To get from 1 to 4, I multiplied by 4, so I'm going to take 10, and I'm going to multiply that by 4, which would give me 40 millimeters. All right. Let's look at one more together. We have 600 centimeters, and we're going to meters. So meters to centimeters is this one right here. So I know 1 meter, the same thing as 100 centimeters. I'm going to make that equivalent to, I don't know how many meters there are, but I do know that I'll have 600 centimeters. So to get from 1 to 600, I know they multiplied by 6. So I'm going to also multiply by 6 to get from 1 meter to 1 times 6 is 6 meters. Alright, boys and girls, I want you to press pause on the video and then go ahead and answer the next 4. Alright, boys and girls, I hope you had a chance to solve those problems, and hopefully you got 5,000 grams is the same thing as 5 kilograms. 3 liters is the same thing as 3,000 milliliters. 9 kilograms is the same thing as 9,000 grams. And then 6,000 milliliters is the same thing as 6 liters. In this video, we used this nice star reference to help us convert between units of measurement that are in the same system. So we converted metric units as well as customary units. I hope it was helpful, and until we meet again, take care and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.